Oh, here we go. Yep, it's gonna be kind of difficult. So today is, I believe, day 3 of this series of videos, and like I said before, it's kind of all jumbled up the way that I have all these videos planned out. I actually now have the STI 6-speed transmission in, as many of you guys may know. As you can see right there, we're in it to win it. But now what we're doing is, the whole point of this video is hooking up the DCCD control. And I was getting a little too ahead of myself before I actually started this last part of the video. And you guys already saw, we got the gauges in, but I believe we're actually gonna have to take those out and plug in my DCCD stuff in there, because I really just want to see what it was gonna look like, and I'm really stoked on it. So now what I'm doing is actually just going step by step and hooking up these buttons. What's really cool is I had the DevRex Limited, so it already had some seat heaters, but obviously, as you can tell, these are no longer the OEM ones, so I no longer need these buttons. So now what's gonna go in replacement of that is my buttons here, the DCCD, the button itself, and then the adjuster as well, because the DCCD Pro that I have is hooked up already utilizing the OEM buttons. So we're gonna go step by step, we're gonna figure it out. Let's go. And they plop right in. Let's go. All right, so this is looking a little bit gnarlier than expected. I don't know if I'm even going to be able to finish it today. No, I'm definitely not gonna be able to finish it today because it's gonna get dark. But pretty much the first thing you have to do to hook this up is, I didn't realize how many connections it has to go to. There's like a G sensor, you have to mount the actual, let's just call it a computer itself, which is this guy here. And then, yeah, you have to run all those wires, tapping into like cluster, tapping into for ECU, tapping in, there's a G sensor that needs to go on like the side of the e-brake and stuff like that. It wants you to use like a 2-part epoxy for the G sensor because you don't want it to move at all. It has to be facing a certain way. So it's definitely a little bit more in-depth than I was expecting. But first things first is, essentially it wants you to take apart almost all of the dash pieces. So first thing that needs to go down is, I'm gonna take out this center piece here. There's just a little like button, if you want to call that, like a little clip, gets it off there. So we're gonna take this out. Let's see if we can. Okay, can't do this with one hand, but I'm gonna take this out, and then I'm gonna take off literally the entire center console. I'm gonna take out this guy here, take out this guy here, take out underneath as well, and then I got to get the cluster back out. And then we can start pretty much running wires and kind of mounting stuff up. So take it one step at a time. Okay, not gonna lie, this is definitely a lot more work than I was expecting. For whatever reason, I thought this was gonna be kind of easy, but you never know, it might be. This just obviously looks super intimidating. How to get access to the ECU itself, and where that's located, obviously just underneath the carpet. You had to peel the carpet back, there's this metal plate covering that, and then you can gain access to the actual ECU that you need, because that's where we're going to be tapping in this guy as well. So I think I'm actually going to stop the video here and continue on maybe tomorrow, but it's just getting a little bit dark, and it's actually going to be raining this week, so we're going to see how much work I can actually get done. Oh man, wish me luck. So it's literally been probably 4 days since the last clip of me trying to hook up this DCCD Pro, and I finally got all the components. I got everything hooked up, although it might look like I'm in the middle of it. Everything's pretty much wired up. I just need to put everything back together. But I'm going to go step by step to show you what connects to what and make it as simple as possible, because it was so hard for me to figure this out. And I finally got it all done, and now that it's all done, it's actually pretty simple. It was just hard to kind of understand the instructions that were given to me. But I'm gonna go step by step, each wire, what it's connected to and what you have to do. So I'm gonna go ahead and just start by going this guy here towards the center console stuff. So what you're gonna have to do is, there's gonna be wires coming out obviously of the actual box itself, which is the DCCD Pro. You get some double-sided tape, you mount that guy up first, and then for me, all the wires were already coming out of it, so I'm gonna go step by step and show you which ones need to go where. So I would say number one, there is a G sensor that you need to use a 2-part epoxy. You're gonna mount that guy right there. So the epoxy is actually drying now, so that's all good to go. The second thing is, you're gonna have to hook up to the e-brake, which this is what it's gonna look like before. It's gonna be a green wire, right? It's gonna be a ground that goes right there. You're gonna have to get this guy here, I'll show you. You're gonna have to get those. You're welcome. Right there. Get one of those. There's gonna be a brown wire that you're gonna have to fish through here. So all I did is connect the green wire and brown wire together, twist them together, and I got this little female connector here, got that all hooked up. The other thing is you're gonna have two buttons if you're gonna be running the OEM DCCD. It's gonna be a white and a blue connector. This is actually heated seats, right? Which is kind of the same, but you'll see they're definitely different. This is what you're gonna need if you're gonna use OEM buttons with the DCCD. So I ran those as well. So this guy is all good to go, all routed. Just gonna put all those pieces back together, and the buttons obviously just click in. Other thing you're gonna have to do is connect this ground wire, which is gonna be a green ground. You're gonna take out that bolt there, and then you're going to, I don't even know what kind of connectors these are. It's pretty much just like has a little O-ring, you know what I mean? Put the O-ring in, put the nut back on, there's your ground. This is probably gonna be different from car to car, year to year, but I had to get a schematic to figure out exactly which wire I needed to go to. And it's going to be this blue wire here. You're gonna have to solder into the throttle position sensor wire. And for me, that wire is 3 rows down. It's a red wire with a blue stripe, I believe. What you have to do is you have to strip back the installation. I obviously got this guy zip tied and taped up already, but I actually soldered in this blue wire to my throttle position sensor wire going to the ECU. That's probably going to be the hardest part for you. You got to figure out which one it is for you, but for 2006 CyberX, I believe it's blue wire with red stripe, if I remember correctly. We did that maybe yesterday or 2 days ago. The morning bike came through, helped me out. We got that all soldered up, I got it all taped up, and we are good to go. The other thing now that we're down here is there's going to be a 3-wire bunch of wires going through here, and that's going to be connecting to the transmission loom, like the harness over there, which I'll pop the hood and show you. But this guy, you're actually going to have to go through the firewall, which is fished up there, then up here, which I'll show you on the other side. That's coming through. Let's see, come on. Anyway, it's that wire there. It's coming through the little firewall grommet back there. You have to cut a little hole through it, and that's connected right there. Just a connection. Also, with these bunch of wires down here, there's going to be a solid green and a solid black wire, and that's the two. And those are the 2 wires that actually go to the center diff. Those 2 wires you're going to have to tap in. It's probably going to be different for you guys from what I had set up. I actually am using an iWire little adapter as well, which you can see. Oh, it's kind of hard to see. Pretty much iWire makes an adapter that I had to use to hook everything up there. So you can look up on iWire's website and it will show you what you need from a DevRex to an STI when you're doing the swap. I think it's like 50 or 60 bucks. I could be mistaken, but it came with the kit that I got, so you're gonna have to get an adapter as well. Now, this is the other thing you have to do. So go to the gauges. To make it work with the OEM buttons, you're gonna have to obviously tap into the gauges itself to make the actual DCCD lights come on and for you to operate those buttons. So what you're gonna have to do is you're going to have to depin the connector A, which is going to be the connector all the way to the left or the driver's side, and you're gonna have to connect all these wires here. I'm gonna pop up some photos that I found online that you're gonna have to switch over to make all the buttons work and make everything illuminate. The other thing you're gonna have to do is this large connector here. In order to make cruise control come on for 2006 CyberX, you're gonna have to move, I believe it's like pin 16 to 28. I'll pop up another photo that I have to show which pin you need to take out and then move over, and that's to make the cruise control light come on. But overall, it's pretty much plug and play for a 2004 STI cluster. If you just want to plug it in, it's going to work, but that's what you're gonna have to do to make the cruise control light come on. I know that was a little fast, but I believe I went over everything. The cluster, all the stuff you need to hook up in the center, the ground wire there, where you have to tape the actual controller itself. I hope I went over it pretty well. That's all the wires that I remember connecting and all the kind of pieces that you need. Probably the hardest one, like I said, is throttle position sensor over there. But overall, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna go ahead, put my interior back together, and then hook up the battery and see if I can get all the buttons to work and make sure everything's working correctly. Wish me luck. So probably about 30 minutes later, I got the interior all back together. Everything in theory should be plugged in, ready to go. We're gonna go ahead and see if these buttons light up, and also if I can control the actual DCCD, all the buttons over here. To be honest, I don't really know how to really work it. with these buttons here. I assume when I go like to manual or something, and then I could just kind of turn this knob, and I'm pretty sure it's supposed to move this up and down, which is going to be the intensity or the control of how intense the center diff is going to kind of give me the power from front to rear and stuff like that. So we're going to go ahead, test it up. I just reconnected the battery right now, so we will see what happens. Turn off that. Cages come on. Ooh, DCCD. Looks like it's looking over there. We're gonna go ahead and see if... Does that do something? Oh, it does. Sweet. So it looks like, I assume the green, well, I assume green means like automatic. That means manual. And then if I move this knob, and there you go. If I move the knob there, it adjusts from fully open to, looks like it says lock there. Let's go. And the freaking compressor on the back is just gonna keep going. So anyway, that's freaking sweet. Let's go. So it looks like everything is all good to go. Everything is hooked up. I am very, very excited about that. It's pretty cool. I'm pretty stoked on it. All the buttons seem to be working, and also the illumination for all the gauges looks to be working. Of course, for me to actually test to see if the cruise control light comes on. Can I? I'll do that now, actually. Let's see if that works, if I hooked up the right pin. There's that. Let's see if it even lets me set cruise. And would you look at that? Cruise. Control light comes on. Let's go. Okay, my battery's probably gonna die. So that's pretty sweet. I'm gonna go ahead and finish up cleaning up all the interior. It's literally gonna rain probably in the next 5 minutes, so I'm stoked I got this done. The DCCD Pro is officially hooked up. It is ready to go. I'm stoked, got the G sensor hooked up. You guys saw all the connections you had to make. And hopefully throughout this, I popped up pictures that I found online that really helped me with this install. It is honestly, it's pretty confusing, I'm not gonna lie. It's pretty intimidating. But once you break it down into just the simple steps, I would say the first thing that really helped is just mount the controller itself, get all the wires spread out, and just take it one step at a time. Like hook up the e-brake and then have that all set aside, and then route all your wires really nicely, give them some slack, make sure there's no weird binds, zip tie everything. I got nice zip ties going around here for all the routing of the wiring, making sure everything is just OEM plus essentially. So I'm really, really stoked on it. This was pretty much one of the biggest hurdles I had to get over to hook everything up. Looks like it's working pretty well. Of course, we're going to do a review and a test when I'm actually driving the car. Quick update on what else is left. Pretty much what else needs to go down is I need to get all the fluid coming for the differential and the transmission. I got that online. It says it's going to be here tomorrow, so hopefully it does. So we're going to do a diff change. We're going to get some fresh fluid in the transmission, make sure everything is topped off, fresh gaskets, drain plugs, stuff like that. So once that's done, I'm going to go ahead and assemble the front end as well. So I assume that's going to be one video of all the fluids plus finishing assembling the front end. I also have brakes coming from StopTech, because StopTech hopped on board and it's helping out, so I'm super stoked on that. We got front rotors, rear pads, front pads, and also steel braided lines for front and rear. So that's probably gonna be a whole nother video, as well as putting on my brakes that I got, which I will do a color reveal when that video drops as well. So we'll do a full brake video. And then I just need tires for my wheels. That will probably be the last video, which is gonna be the reveal when the car's on the ground. So there's a few more videos until we are fully finished, but we are getting very, very close, just taking it step by step. Today is officially 1 month since my car has been down, so pretty stoked. I feel like I'm making pretty good progress, just going kind of step by step and taking my time, making sure everything is good to go. So I think that's gonna be it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, hope you guys learned something. I'm gonna catch you on the next one. Peace out.